It's 7 p.m. here on Saturday, July 16th, from almost the boardwalk in Ventnor, New Jersey, and, well, apparently an abandoned lot somewhere in Bethesda. It's Saturday night with your hosts, well, Zach and Ray, or Ray and Zach, however you prefer. How do you prefer it, handsome?
Chips ahoy! Chips ahoy!
We are
I
going
like that.
straight into the data tonight, Pops. Here's the deal, Dad.
Yes.
Only the rich can buy cars nowadays. That the new data that we have from Cox Automotive paints an even more challenging picture as to what we're looking at in the new and used car market, Dad. The affordability index came back out today. So before, let me stop sharing. Did you even get a chance? Let me take a step back. Did you even get a chance to look at the new affordability index from Cox Automotive?
I didn't receive the affordability index from Cox Automotive because apparently they didn't think I could afford to read it.
Okay, and likely neither of us can, because look at this, Dad. New vehicle affordability declines again in June. Typical monthly payments
Wait.
hit $730. Go ahead.
Oh God, that's up another $18 a month from the previous month. 730. That doesn't include maintenance. That doesn't include gas. That doesn't include insurance. Um, uh, if that is your average payment, it doesn't include sanity. Uh, wow. Well, I am certainly glad. Let me just say this real quick, if I may.
Yeah.
I am certainly glad I am well below average.
Yeah, join the club, man. Let's go to the chat really briefly here, and then we'll pull the data back up. Matthew's here with us. Bud Addy is here. Mario Space, good to see you. Steve S. John Stiggs, thanks for
Stiggs
being
in
here,
the
Stiggs.
house.
We always appreciate it.
Yeah.
Justice is here with us.
Justice.
Sean's here. Lone Wolf Nomad, thanks for being here. Shannon, good to see you, Shannon. Sean's here with us, Pops. Dog Breath. Gotta love it when Dog Breath joins us on Saturday night. Speaking of which, Dad, I'll be at your condo next Saturday night. We'll be sitting side by side next to each other. A birthday stream. My birthday's on Friday, so hopefully next Saturday we can do a birthday stream together. How's that sound?
I don't know why we couldn't, but you're just going to have to remember to bring a microphone.
I will bring a microphone. Don't you worry. Thank you for everyone being here tonight. It's awesome to see everyone with us. Let me pull the data back up on the screen again, Dad. It is truly at this point. Let me pull it back up at the stream. There we go. It is truly at this point. It is no longer a capability for everyone in the United States to be able to own a car. I mean, that's just the reality. You officially need privilege to be able to own and drive a car, Dad. The affordability index tracks how many weeks worth of income it takes for the average person in the United States to pay off their car. We're up to 42.2 weeks. We're not big math people here, but what's the slope going right here, Dad? What's the slope?
The slope is skyrocketing. It's almost a perpendicular slope. That's some craziness. You know what's scary? That it would take 42.2 weeks worth of work to pay for the car. But the good news is that the banks and the dealers have figured out how you can finance it on average for about 72 months at only $730 a month. It's, so you don't have to worry about paying it off in 42.2 weeks. You're just going to be paying for it for, 6 years. But 6 sounds so much less than 42.2.
The reality is that the average loan term is around 6 years. So we're taking on a $730 payment for 6 years.
Yeah. Sure. That doesn't make you feel comfortable. The warranty on most cars is 3 years or 36,000 miles. So that means the last 3 years you're not under warranty anymore. I don't know, $730 a month for a car payment, an average car payment. That's the average. Now, obviously, there's people that have payments that are well below that. There's people that actually people might find this shocking, but there's actually people that have payments that are well above that. I think some of the stats we saw recently is that 12% of all loans had payments of $1,000 a month or higher.
And that was last
$1,000 a
month's
month.
data. That
Yeah,
was
but
May's data.
still,
June's is going to be even higher.
but well, the percentage of people that have loans of $1,000 a month or more might go up, but that's an astronomical number to know that if you're somebody that has a $12,000 a year is just going for a car payment, your car note. Okay, doesn't include your rent or your mortgage or I don't know anything else. Hell, it
And I
might
don't
not
know,
even
Dad.
include if it's a BMW, you might still have to pay a subscription on top of that for your heated seats to work.
And I don't know if everyone here knows this, but we bought a website earlier this year called CarEdge.com. And if you're not using CarEdge, everything's free. There's literally, unlike the Join YAA website, there's ads on CarEdge. That's how you make money on CarEdge.com. But the whole point of CarEdge is to show you, and let's actually go to the rankings. Let's just go to the value ratings really quickly
Yes.
on CarEdge.com. What we've got here on CarEdge, and it's fascinating, the best cars by value actually is the Chevrolet Corvette, but we're going to choose the Toyota 4Runner here because they're going to break down for you the 5-year cost to own that vehicle. Depreciation on some of these vehicles is pretty much non-existent relative to
Yes.
years past. Obviously, fuel costs, insurance costs, interest costs, maintenance costs. You can start to paint the picture here, Dad. Your $730 a month car note is just this portion of the bigger annual expense that you're putting out there. And I think I could pull it up really quickly. AAA, give me a second. AAA annual cost to own a car. This is data from 2019, Dad.
Oh, okay.
2019.
Okay, so there's hardly been any inflation since then, and B, the average cost of new cars and used cars has hardly gone up since then. So I would say to be safe, add 25 to 30% on top of that number.
I
That's
100% agree with
crazy.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty wild to think. I thought we'd take some time to Dad, tonight. I want to actually pull up some of the data for the different automakers. We can compare what their cars used to sell for, what they're selling for nowadays. And then, of course, let's have a little bit of a conversation around if you're in the market, you have to do something, obviously. Let's provide some recommendations and some advice there. Name a brand that you want to start. Well, let me show you the list that we have access to, and we'll do a little bit of a comparison. How's that sound?
Okay. That
All
works
right,
for
let me
me.
pull this.
I'm taking a
Let me
sip of
pull
water.
this up. You can do that. This is a press release from Kelley Blue Book, June 3rd of 2019. Okay.
Okay.
3 years ago. And the headline here was new vehicle prices increased up 3.7% from May of 2018, while decreasing $208 from the last month. So this is like a time when new car prices were starting to go up. American Honda, Dad, in May of
Yes.
2019, average transaction price was $28,568. You had any
Wow.
clue what their average transaction price was in the most recent quarter ending this year?
Well, when you say American Honda, and that includes Acura and Honda,
Yep.
I'm going to say $46,713.
We've got 46. Wait, that was oddly specific. 46,000. What was it?
$713.
It's $36,824 for Q1 of 2022. 36,000. So it's gone up $8,000, nearly
Wow.
$8,000 in 3 years.
That's a lot, isn't it?
I would say so. What about Ford, Dad? Ford's average transaction price had been $41,612. Do you remember the data when we had looked at it most recently for Q1?
Yeah, it was just over 50 grand.
It was just under $50,000,
Oh.
$49,528. Starting to see a bit of a theme here.
Another $8,000. Okay.
What about General Motors, Dad? What were
General
they back in
Motors was a
2019?
tad over 50,000, so they went up almost $9,000.
Exactly. General Motors' average transaction price in Q1 was $50,854. What about Hyundai Kia?
Hyundai Kia.
$25,000 car back in 2019.
Well, I'm guessing it's got to be what 35,000 today. It's just a little bit less than American Honda.
35,900.
Call it 36. So they've gone up. They've gone up $10,000 in 3 years.
One more. Let's do Toyota. Toyota's average
Okay.
transaction price had been $33,700 Dad. Do you remember what they were in Q1 of this year?
44 and change.
$40,036.
Wow.
We are seeing price increases that well outpace inflation. And it's because of what we have with like the BMW news. We're going to put all the chips and everything that makes a car expensive, and we're going to sell it for a lot more as well.
Mm-hmm. And because of the situation after COVID or during COVID, where the manufacturers couldn't build as many cars as they could, they allocated their chips to their most expensive, highest profit margin vehicles that they could produce, and then the dealers, on top of that, because of shortages, were able to add additional markup for market adjustments because of the shortages. So everything is conspired uh, to cost the consumers considerably more money than just the cost of inflation. Because vehicles shouldn't have gone up $10,000 in 3 years. Um, that's way faster than the cost of inflation.
We've got here, Dad, from Tim ZZZ. Best time to buy a car was 2 to 3 years ago. Yeah.
The best time to buy a car would have been right after they shut down the dealerships due to COVID. Okay. And dealers had no idea how they were going to sell cars. They had no idea when they'd be able to open again. And so anybody that was agreeing to buy a car literally could have pretty much named their price. And if I remember correctly, a lot of the manufacturers, in order to encourage people to buy cars, were offering 0% interest, I believe, up to and including 84-month terms. So that would have been 7 full years of being able to borrow the money at no interest at all. So yes, uh, that April, May, June of 2020, I guess it was, that would have been, in retrospect, in hindsight, and hindsight's always 2020, that would have been the time to buy a car.
Pops, we've got a couple questions in the chat. Let's go to those. I've got some more data and also an update from Hertz. I don't know if you've heard about the update over at Hertz. I want to talk to you about what's going on there. ICN2URRR. First time in the live chat. Do you guys think that a Jeep Wagoneer is a good buy? Pops, do you want to break the news?
Do we think it's a good buy? Well, one of our community members, Josh, would probably suggest to you that it might not necessarily be a good buy. We spent probably a half an hour or more talking to Josh and reviewing the situation that he had with his brand new 114,000-mile Jeep Wagoneer
$114,000.
that requires a $30,000 plus warranty repair because of the rear axle fell apart, and it just destroyed $30,000 worth of parts and labor. And the vehicle had like 500 and some miles on it. So do I think it's a good buy? It might be the type that once you buy it and when it breaks down, you might want to walk away from it and go goodbye. But Jeep had Chrysler, well, what formerly used to be known as Chrysler, which is now Stellantis. And Stellantis makes such brands as Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Alfa Romeo, Ram trucks, and for the longest period of time, they have not been thought of as highly quality wise as some of the other vehicles out there. And when a $114,000 Jeep Wagoneer blows the rear end out of it 500 miles into its existence, that's a scary thought.
It is. I see a lot of chat messages here talking about markups at dealerships, and I want to pull them up here in just a second. But I want to remind everyone, probably one of the best resources we have that the community has. If you go to joinyaa.com, which we now have a new homepage. I worked on this last week and got it shipped out yesterday. Definitely want feedback from folks about the homepage. But if you go under resources, Dad, and then dealer reviews. These are the crowdsourced from the community dealership reviews. So if you're looking for a dealership that doesn't charge over MSRP, they actually might even charge below MSRP, go here to the dealer reviews. Again, it's under resources, dealer reviews. If you want to leave a review of a dealership, just go under resources and click on leave a review. We're up to 2,091 reviews left. Please, please, please. This is one of the best. Again, it's just you're on the homepage, resources, dealer reviews, leave a review. Please consider contributing information there. It's the best, one of the best tools we have.
It is. And can I ask a silly question? Because I'm not a tech guy at all. But
Yeah,
is there like a search bar on the website so that you can put in topics that might be of interest to you to see what populates that we've already either done blogs on or videos on?
Yeah, let me demonstrate where that is.
Could you show me how to find that? Because this guy right here, the face of the franchise, I can't find it.
Yeah, it's not well organized. And Sandeep, if you can send me an email, help, HELP at joinyaa.com, and tell me what you experienced. I would love to know so that we can fix it. Let me share the screen again and just briefly show my dad where he can access.
This is the Ray Shefsky tutorial.
Then go to blog, Dad. And then if you scroll down on the blog, there's a search bar right here. So what do you want to search?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
But this text is supposed to be white. Ah, damn it! There's a bug. All right, but what do you want to search?
I don't know. What do you want to search? Buying a car out of state.
EV charging, tax credit update, banning new car sales. Man, our search sucks. Let me try buying a car out of state. Right. Well, at least we're honest.
Yeah, no, we are. Can we put somebody in charge of fixing it?
I mean, Arash is in charge of technology. Arash, if you're watching, maybe help me out with this next time. FTC, how to buy a car in 2022. No,
I know we did a blog about how to buy.
Your best bet, Dad, is how to buy a car out of state YAA. Use Google. Google's good at searching. We're not. Here you go. Here it is, right here. Buying a vehicle in another state, step-by-step guide for 2022. Yeah, you wrote this, Dad.
Well, I thought I had, and I couldn't find it the other day.
So we're good with car stuff. We're not good with design and websites, evidently. So, Pops, use Google. Okay, use Google. I want to come back up here, Dad. We had a very thoughtful contribution from a random username 9284051. Dealers here in Houston, Texas. I'm assuming H means Houston.
Yes.
Marked up a lightning from 80,000 to 140,000. The $1 trillion loan market will collapse as EV subsidies become common. Costs will continue to climb like the cost of college. What do you think, Pops?
Well, I want to thank random user, and I'm stopping right there for the $10 donation. That was very kind. I think there's going to be issues moving forward with the loan to value ratios that banks have been using in order to approve car loans so that dealers could continue to sell cars at inflated prices. Because this is just a supposition. I mean, I haven't worked in the dealership environment in a couple of years, but I can't imagine that suddenly people have a lot more money to use as a cash down payment for a car that's been marked up an extra $10,000 plus the fees. In the past, the people coming, well, yeah, maybe I have $1,000. Okay, I can come up with $2,000. Well, if you're charging them $5,000 in additional dealer markup, you need to get that in cash, or the banks have to agree to finance more than they should. And my suspicion is that the banks have been financing more than they should, and at a certain point, people are just going to go, I can't do this. I don't want to, the guy that's got the guy or gal that has a $730 a month car payment right now that just signed up 6 months from now might go, you know what? I'd rather take an Uber than pay $730 a month plus insurance, plus gas, plus maintenance, and might say to the bank, here's your car, like people did when they were underwater on their home mortgages. So I would not be surprised if there is this internal explosion of people walking away from debt. And I mean, I read somewhere the other day that Chase has set aside even more money uh, to cover bad loans. So they know what's going on, and
We're
they
actually, Dad,
yes.
I was going to say, we're going to be doing an interview with Lucky Lopez of Automotive Life, who was referenced in that Barron's article. Did I even tell you about this yet?
You were busy. You know, you were in New York yesterday. You was,
I sent
and
you the
then
calendar invite, though. I sent you the calendar
yeah,
invite.
I saw the Lucky Lopez one, and then we have we're meeting with Lucky next Wednesday,
Yep.
and then I believe we have a guest on the news that you can use show on Wednesday as well.
For the next 3 Wednesdays.
Holy cannoli! Uh, yeah, and I believe next Wednesdays is a gentleman out of Canada who is a consumer advocate up in Canada, helping people when it comes to buying cars. So, yeah,
Exactly.
I pay a little
Exactly.
bit of attention. Yeah, not much. Yeah.
just enough. Pops, we've got a couple more chat messages I want to pull up, and then again, there's this Hertz news that we're not making it through today's show without talking about what's going on at Hertz. Chuck says, I love Car Edge. Crazy you guys bought it. Yeah, we did back last month in June. We closed on Car Edge. So again, caredge.com, cost of ownership, value ratings, things like that. Hopefully that gets your gears spinning as a community. We're probably going to integrate that into our car search and things like that. So stay tuned for those updates.
There is such valuable information that we will be able to share with our community members and anybody that's searching for cars, that will differentiate us from everybody else. And the information on Car Edge is just amazing. Yeah, that I think is probably, well, it's your only acquisition, so it's certainly your best acquisition. But I think years from now, when there are other acquisitions, we will look back and we will go, that first one of Car Edge was absolutely the smartest move you could have ever made to help integrate everything to help the consumers out there.
Thank you, Pops. I really appreciate you sharing that with me.
Well, you're
Let's go
welcome.
to John's question. Is the shortage worsening? What's the read in the room, Dad, on the new car shortage?
Is it worsening? Well, I don't know. We recently saw on-hand inventory, and some of the more popular brands, their day supply has gone down even more. Is it?
Toyota's days supply is at one and
Yeah,
a half days supply in
yeah.
the United States.
So for instance, the Stellantis products, they seem to have a lot of product on hand. Ford seems to have a lot of product on hand at the moment. General Motors seems to have a fair amount of product on hand at the moment. And then others of the more popular brands, Honda, Toyota, Kia, Hyundai, Subaru, they're operating with much shorter supply of cars. And the truth of the matter is, the bulk of the cars that they have allocated and that are built already have a customer's name associated with them before they ever get to the dealership. So I think the shortages are here to stay for quite some time, and I don't see it getting any significantly better than what it is at the moment.
No, and we haven't read any headlines that say it's going to get better
No.
anytime soon. If you're really into the data like I am, I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point in time that I love this data, and I love being able to surface it for people. There's a great website. We have absolutely no affiliation with them. It's called 4eyes.io. They're actually like a dealership marketing firm. I don't know. They do all sorts of interesting stuff. If you just scroll all the way down to the bottom of their website and click on data, and then you can actually come here and you can see U.S. auto inventory levels by model year. I just like to go to this one, the U.S. auto inventory levels. What I like about Four Eyes is they update every single day. And this is good data. It's 90% of US-based new franchise dealerships. That last week we saw a 2% decline week over week in total available inventory in the industry. We're doing another little nosedive here, and then you can put in specific manufacturers. So let's get rid of everyone, and BMW's had good inventory recently. You mentioned Ford. Let's do Jeep, and then let's do a brand that we know hasn't, like maybe Subaru. Hit apply. Let me zoom in so that when it loads, we can all see it. All right, so we've got a lot of interesting color choices. So Subaru is this pink brand. Week
Yes.
over week, their inventory levels have dropped 22.8% year over year. They're down 56.5. No wonder, Dad, your buddy Lee, who has
Yes.
a off-lease Subaru Crosstrek or a Subaru Outback.
Outback, which he purchased this week.
Yeah, and
He
was in a
realized. I was going to say he realized it made so much more sense just to buy it. His buyout figure was 16.6 plus tax, and you have to get a new registration and plates because it'll no longer be in the lease company's name. So the total was probably just under $18,000, and he had a buy offer from CarMax for 27.6. That's like $9,600, $9,700 of equity after he bought it. And if he wanted to retail it himself, he could probably retail it for, I don't know, close to 30. So
This is
yeah,
this comment from Space here, Dad, is one of the very reasons why the community is super powerful. Here you go. Subaru, very regional, Southern California, where Space has a lot of expertise. He's saying that's okay. Some good Subaru in NorCal as well. Space and Justice are two of the team members behind the scenes, part of
Yes.
YAA, helping folks out. Now, Pops, let's look at some of the other manufacturers. So Subaru inventory down 56.5% year over year. Ford inventory is actually up 6.6% year over year, and Jeep inventory is up 7.8% year over year. BMW inventory is down 8.9% year over year, but you can see they've been the least hardest hit since April 2022. Now, again, 4eyes.io. We have no affiliation with them. I genuinely don't even know what they do. I think they sell software and stuff. Anyway,
I don't know what they do, but I know that they do have a lot of data. And it's really actionable data for those of us who are trying to I don't know, guide people with what's available and what availability levels are. So I find their data fascinating. I know you do as well.
Of course, Pops. We have my girlfriend in the chat. Happy Saturday, Zach and Ray. That is going to get tonight's first.
Yeah, buddy.
And
Yeah.
and the Ray
Yeah.
Shefska stamp of approval.
Well, and a happy Saturday to Laura as well. Yes.
Thanks for being here, Laura. All right, Pops, let's jump back to the chat here. Michael with a kind contribution. My 2016 Cruise has 211,000 miles on it, and I'm upgrading my hose electric panel to accommodate the Chevy Bolt EUV now that MSRP. House. Why did I say hose? House electric panel to accommodate the Chevy Bolt EUV now that MSRP dropped $6,000. Yeah, it's a smart idea. That the tricky thing with those, Pops, is actually finding dealers that are selling them without egregious markups or really,
Yes.
really challenging deal structure.
No, it is, but you know, they are some of the most affordable electric vehicles out there, battery electric vehicles out there, because for the most part, as we know, the average transaction price for electric vehicles in June was just a tick under $67,000. So if you can get your hands on something like a Bolt for in the $25,000 to $30,000 range, you know, that's a veritable bargain in today's world.
Oh, 100% it is, Dad. 100%
Yes.
it is. Yeah, it's really honestly, it's like a total shame that you can't find dealers that are selling those types of cars at reasonable price points. We actually had a lease deal, and I know Mario, and I might pull it up, Pops, but it was the lease deal for a Bolt, and it was just terrible. I mean, like a truly atrocious deal.
Well, you couldn't tell if it was atrocious or not because they didn't share enough of the information with you to know what any of it was really based on. That was the perfect example of a 10,000 piece jigsaw puzzle that was only missing like 9,500 of the 10,000 pieces. So
let's actually pull it up on the screen. For those of you who are not familiar, you can get your deals reviewed by the YAA community. Let me share my screen, Pops, and let's go through and do this together just so everyone knows, because I see some questions in the chat about specific cars that people are interested in and such, and I want to be able to pull this up. When you're on joinyaa.com, go to resources, go to YAA community. This will take you to the community forum. Now, that deal was in See, like Timothy, he's posting his deal here. Let's just scroll down. Let's just find it really quick.
There
It's
it is,
right
right
here.
there. Yes.
And you can see Space was already in here helping out as much as possible.
Yes.
Let's take a quick peek. This is what they gave our community member for a 2022 Chevy Bolt EUV. Like, what do you even see here, Dad?
Well, I see a sale price, but I have no idea what the MSRP is. I see something for $1,695 for service contracts. I have no idea what that is. I see $1,500 in rebates, but I don't know how they got a sale price of $41,800 because I don't believe these vehicles list anywhere near $41,800. Well, and according to Space, they list for $37,580. So, without all the information, we need to know. We need to know money factors, the exact residual values, things like that. This stuff is so marked up. I mean, that vehicle, if it's a $37,000 vehicle, should lease for about $375 a month. That's what it should lease for, not $500 some dollars a month.
Now let's give Laura, because she is here in the chat, her flowers really quickly. One of the best videos we've probably ever produced. Search on YouTube. Customer schools car dealer and saves thousands. Must watch before buying a car. This is part 2. It's a 33-minute long video, okay? But Laura schools pops. We need to do more of these, and it's incredible. Over 250,000 people, Dad, have watched this video. It's really awesome to see how much it's grown. We need more and more folks to watch this video, and we honestly need to do another one for a lease, for a factory order, etc. These are the types of videos where I feel like folks really get a lot of value, Dad, because they're able to see what they're about to step into when they go
Yes.
to the dealership.
And I believe Laura was nominated for a YouTube Emmy. And if she wasn't, she should have been. And at the very least, she should win Newcomer of the Year award because she was terrific in the series. And really, we should make it easier for people to find all 3 of the series that Laura was involved in, because one was where we took advantage of Laura. And when I say we, the sales department and the finance department. Then the one where Laura kind of fought back and she schooled those of us on the sales side and the finance side. And then the third one where we interviewed Laura to see which way she felt better about it. Utilizing the information that she suddenly had discovered. And it was a great series. And it don't get me wrong when I say this, honey, but it's hard to find on our YouTube channel. I don't know how to search.
Dad,
for
everything we do is hard to find. But I will tell you, Dad, you probably you don't watch YouTube, so you don't know this. But there's playlists. So if you just go to our channel and click on playlists, it's right there. And then there's all, like, you want to watch my dad break down car deals, it's right here. You want to watch us review cars, it's right here. You want to watch us talk about electric cars, it's right here. So, it's kind of organized. But you know me, Dad, I'm not particularly organized. So to each their own. Let's go back to the chat, Dad.
Yeah.
John B hitting one of the key notes for tonight's theme. My gosh, an American car brand still discontinued all their low-end cars. This is part of the narrative, Dad. Not only have car prices gone up because of the shortage of them, automakers are the ones to blame for most of it. They've stopped producing the more price attainable vehicles that folks want.
And they have, because they have to make business decisions. And the business decisions, since these are all publicly traded companies, they have to make business decisions that are going to please their stockholders. And because they have stockholders, they have a fiduciary responsibility to make as much profit as they possibly can. So when they have a limited supply of the chips and other parts that are needed to build vehicles, they're going to allocate that supply to their high profit margin vehicles so that they can get a good return on investment for their stockholders. That doesn't bode well for the average person looking to buy a car that, I don't know, wants a car payment half of what the average car payment is, say $350 a month or $375 a month. And the only way you get those type of car payments is when you have cars that are affordably between $20,000 and $30,000. And those are not the cars that the manufacturers are producing right now. And we won't see an increase in those type of vehicles being produced until there is an excess amount of chips and other supplies available so that they can then be making enough profit on the full line to be keeping their stockholders happy.
Sean's hit the nail on the head. OEMs and dealerships love the low inventory, high price model. Yeah, they've proven that they can make more money than ever before and
Yes.
ultimately stiff the consumer. And honestly, it's just taking a bunch of people out of the market. And what's difficult about that, Dad, is you have more and more folks driving cars longer and longer, ending up with issues. That's inevitable. The
Mhm.
reality is, though, getting parts for those issues is very challenging in today's market. You want to find a part, it's going to take some time. It's going to be on back order. So it's difficult. It's just challenging across the board. And we're seeing the prices of everything, unfortunately, go up. And that's unrelated to, and yeah, actually, Dog Breath here asking, Zach, is YA still thinking about launching a road hazard road service insurance plan? Is that still on the to-do list? No, we decided actually we're not going to do like a roads, not like a AAA. We're not going to do like a AAA roadside assistance. Instead, what we've decided to do is we've actually gotten into like the true auto insurance market, because any auto insurance company offers roadside assistance. And so instead of getting into the, hey, get a YAA roadside assistance plan, if you actually just go, and here I'll demonstrate really quickly. If you just go to the website now, click on insurance on the homepage, put in your zip code. What's your zip code, Pops?
08406. Isn't it?
08406. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
This will take you to the quote system where you can shop all, Ventnor, where you can shop all the different quotes from auto insurers right there. Pops, you went through and you did this. Let's actually do a little case study here. I take it you have decided not to go through with your YAA quote. That would have been through Safeco. It was what,
Yes.
$76 than your current Geico coverage?
It would have saved me about $60 a year. And I will say I've been very pleased with the type of service that I've gotten from Geico over the 7.5 years that we've been using Geico for our insurance. Never had an issue with them. And this is going to sound strange, but I'm a pretty loyal guy. If I'm paying you for a service and you take care of me when I need you to, well, I'm not going to sell you out for $60. It's like when I had customers in the car business, when I was a salesperson, if I treated you nicely, if I shared honestly and openly with you, and I made the experience pleasant, my hope was that if you went somewhere else and they beat our deal by $50, that you wouldn't sell me out for $50. That I was worth $50 to you over your lifetime. And that's kind of how I feel about Geico at this point. Now,
You are dragging out our insurance promo, Pops.
Well, I'm doing my best. But if Safeco would have saved me a couple $100, I probably would have switched. But it was so easy to do, and so easy to get the quotes. Yeah, I think it's a great service and complements what we're doing here at YAA.
Let's jump back to the chat, Dad. Brian is here with us. Was following up with the body shop manager on a vehicle today. New car door for a CX-5 is around $800. He can't find it. He can find a used door for $1,400 though.
Oh my God! And you can't put a used door on a new car. You can't. Okay. Yeah. If there's an issue if it's a car that's a stock unit and it's damaged, you can't then throw a used door on the car. It has to be replaced with a new door. If it's somebody, Glenn Davis, I see him in there, and he's so right. No, there was another one, the Ray Schmoes.
I know, Pops.
Yeah. But my point is that Brian, God bless him, he's at Pacifico Mazda on Essington Avenue in Philadelphia, where, by the way, if you're looking for a Mazda and you're looking for a Mazda dealer that doesn't sell above MSRP,
Didn't Brian tell
Brian
us
is
they
your guy.
started selling above MSRP? Or am I making that up?
No, their sister store. They have another store that's run by a different manager. Their sister store sells over MSRP, but they don't, unless things have changed. And Brian, if things have changed, then please let us know.
Pops from Wicked Roller here. Thank you for the contribution. Shopping for a factory, ordering a vehicle and paying cash. Do I just let the dealership set of financing and make sure it has an early payoff option?
Well, if you're paying cash, they might ask you that when you order the vehicle, how you planning on paying for it, and you might say to them, "I'm open. I haven't 100% decided whether I'd like to pay cash or depending upon what type of financing options are out there at the time." Because, for instance, if whatever manufacturer is, if they have a 0% interest for 36 months or 48 months, why not take advantage of that since there's no extra cost to you? So I would just leave it open until it's time to make the final decision when you're going to pick the vehicle up.
And then obviously make sure if you do end up taking on any financing, if there's no prepayment penalty, then of course
Absolutely.
pay it off after the first statement. All right, Dad, let's break things down a little bit and not talk so much about, I don't know, these big corporations and how they're really sticking it to us. And we've got here a thoughtful contribution from O'Connor DSM Life. I work at Hyundai of Yakima in Washington State. We are selling at MSRP, no dealer markups. Our dealership is not holding inventory. We got it all out and just being honest with customers. Thank you, Brian. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And that is awesome. And quite honestly, that's the way it should be. And there was an article that I sent you today about a dealer. I forget where they were that they don't even want to sell to out-of-state customers. They just want.
They
to
were
take
in
care
Washington
of
State as well. It's a Subaru dealership in Washington State that doesn't sell to out-of-state customers, sells only at MSRP or below to local customers. So there you go. Here's Hyundai of Yakima, and Brian is right. Pacifico, Mazda, Hyundai, or Ford and Philly. Those are all at MSRP as well. This is the beauty of the community. If you're getting hit with, and I see it all throughout the chat, we all see it. And here you go, ZZZ Sleeping managed to find a 2022 Tacoma off-road at MSRP. It's out there. It is out there. You just got to find it. And that's obviously, there's a website called markups.org, Dad, which we're huge fans of. We have a partnership with them. That's another crowdsourcing website. Let me pull that up on the screen. If you're not on Markups, if you're not using our car dealer reviews, markups.org. There's my dad's face. There's all the markups. Plaza Ford. They're not marking up Fords. That's great. Like, come on here and start using this. This information is out there. There are people just like you, like-minded, who want to not get screwed. Take advantage of that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's wonderful that markups.org exists. That's wonderful that we exist and are doing the crowdsourced dealer reviews. It's wonderful that the community exists to help everybody. And I read the comments and we see a lot of comments about how we're anti-dealer and we disparage car salespeople. No, I made my living selling cars, managing dealerships. I admire dealers that try to do it the right way. Brian at Pacifico, they do it the right way. Earl Stewart in Florida, he does it the right way. Yes, there are dealers that don't believe the short-term gain of adding additional dealer markups is worth the long-term loss of that customer. So there are dealers out there that are playing what Zach likes to call the long game. They want to be in this for a long, long time, and they're gonna take care of their customers, protect their customers, not try and rip off their customers when everybody else is. So yeah, I just don't like the dealers that are sleazy, and I will shout out the dealers that aren't. It's just that simple.
Pops, this is Glenn Davis, one of the salespeople that you worked with for decades. It's great to
Yes.
see Glenn here with us. Glenn doesn't like dealer markups. That's great, Glenn. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
And Glenn, it's good to see you, man. It's been a long time.
and truth of the matter is, only short-sighted salespeople like the additional dealer markups, because when it's time for that customer that you got an extra $5,000 or $10,000 out of, uh, just because there was a shortage of cars, they're not coming back to you when it's time to replace that car, because they're going to remember that they paid $5,000 to $10,000 for just, well, air, okay, just for the ability to be able to buy the car. People don't forget that stuff, and especially if they're paying off that $5,000 or $10,000 over a 6-year period of time, they're going to feel it in their payment every month for 6 years. So, yeah, most smart salespeople hate it.
Pops, we've got from Mr. B. When do you review your resume inbox? Unfortunately, we're not hiring right now. We got a full team on our end, but we should still be able to get back to you. So I'll take a peek, Mr. B. Appreciate your contribution. Thank you for being a part of our community. Dad, we've got a really interesting comment here from Yay Who. I just bought a 2022 Tacoma, and the quality of Toyota has declined significantly since I bought a Corolla in 2016. Does that surprise you to read?
It does not, because that we've seen that. We've seen that across the board with all manufacturers, and there's any number of reasons for it. And the primary driver, I believe, is that a lot of the manufacturing facilities are not necessarily working with a full staff, due to COVID and other issues. And if a guy or gal that handles a particular job is out for 2 weeks, and they got somebody else in there that really hasn't done it that much in the past, well, then maybe the quality slips a little bit. And we've been seeing that over the past 2 years, where there have just been more and more issues. And it was reported, what is it, JD Powers,
JD Power,
the
yeah.
number of quality issues at the beginning for people has gone up dramatically. And a lot of those are software related issues, but there are build quality issues as well.
Yeah, 100% there are, Dad. This is a really interesting one from Ariel here. Is it possible for 3 different Mercedes dealerships to give me 3 different money factors within a few days of each other for the same car? So you get a money factor when you're thinking of leasing a vehicle. And yes, every dealership can mark up the money factor just like they can mark up loans that you get approved for. This is why it's
Yes.
critically important. And Mario then in the chat is in here telling us that where you can find the Mercedes-Benz Financial Services money factor. This is why it's critically important that you never go into the F&I office without a pre-approval for your loan if you're buying a car, or the knowledge of what the actual buy rate money factor is at the dealership for a lease.
Yeah, it's yeah, it happens every day. I mean, this is another way for dealerships to make money. They're allowed to mark up the money factor on the leases, and that's just additional revenue on top of selling the cars for MSRP or above MSRP. And trust me, there's plenty of margin in a Mercedes Benz selling it at MSRP.
We've got from I Like Cars. All right, we're going to come back to this. How long before the market adjusts? Now, before we answer that, Dad, I want to
Yes.
bring a little change of pace to tonight's show. We have an update in the Hertz having customers drive cars that were reported as stolen. There's
Oh,
now a
yes.
lawsuit from 47 customers who faced false arrest, Dad. This
Ah,
is a brand new update. Shall I read it out to you?
well, please, since you didn't share it with me, yes.
47 Hertz customers have filed a lawsuit against the rental company that describes horror stories after they were allegedly falsely reported as having stolen its rental cars, and in some cases, even jailed. The plaintiffs allege being blindsided by arrests, sometimes at gunpoint, and in some cases, spending time in jail. Some plaintiffs describe losing their jobs in the fallout from the arrest. We laugh, but this is devastatingly sad.
That's
The
terrible.
lawsuit alleges systematic flaws in Hertz's reporting of thefts, including not recording rental extensions, falsely claiming customers haven't paid, failing to track its own vehicle inventory, and failing to correct false police reports to police. The lawsuit was filed in Delaware's Superior Court and comes on the heels of a court ruling that these cases could be pursued outside bankruptcy court. Hertz said in
Wow.
a statement that it disagreed with the ruling allowing the cases to be pursued outside bankruptcy court, and it's committed to do right by our customers. We are
Sure.
reviewing and considering each claim brought against Hertz on its individual merits, Hertz spokesman Jonathan Stern said. We have begun extending settlement offers to dozens of claimants and will continue to do so on a case-by-case basis. And it was back in April that Hertz CEO Stephen Shear said several hundred people were impacted by the company's errors. I'll read through just a little bit more, Pops, and then I want your take on this. Some of the plaintiffs say they were using Hertz rentals to make a living driving for Uber or Lyft or to transport their families. One plaintiff, Bianca Deloach, described being swarmed by police with their guns drawn at a gas station in March of 2021 while her children watched from inside the rental she paid for. The complaint says she spent 9 nights in jail. Charges were dismissed months later. So the update here, Dad, we've known about this. 47 folks have come together to file a lawsuit against Hertz. Makes you scratch your head how these things can possibly happen, right?
Well, that's because they don't have the proper processes and procedures in place, and that's how stuff like this happens. Um, they have a process in place to report the car stolen. Um, they don't have a process in place to, well, unreport the car stolen when either the customer is paid or the customer's brought the vehicle back. And in the case of that Bianca Deloach, uh, 9 nights in jail. Yeah, you're damn right that should be handled outside of bankruptcy, and very well might have to cancel. I don't know, 10 or 12 Tesla orders with the amount of money they're gonna end up having to pay this woman, and they should. Um, this has been going on for years and years and years, and until there's a price to be paid. Um, the corporations aren't going to do anything about it. Now, hopefully, because of this lawsuit, there'll be a huge price to be paid. And they'll probably file bankruptcy again so that they don't have to pay it. But that's for another set of lawyers. But yeah. I mean, we need to hold these corporations accountable when stuff like this happens. They run the risk of destroying people's lives, and there has to be a price to be paid for that. Somebody in good faith rents a car and then
Yeah.
has a swarm of cops pull guns to pull them over. And if you're, I mean, what are you thinking as the driver? This could be my ending of my life. That's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. But Dad, remember, state of Florida, Vroom, they were making it a hardship on folks' lives because they didn't give them titles,
Yeah,
registrations. $87,000 fine. So,
yeah,
little victories, small victories. I think
yeah,
there's, hopefully we see some we have the FTC with the proposed rule against car dealers for selling products that don't provide any value, for not getting consent on F&I products, things like that. So
yeah. For
hopefully we'll
bait and
see some
switch
more.
advertising, but
Yeah.
but the rules around bait and switch advertising have been there for years, and if there's no enforcement, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many rules and regulations a government agency can come up with to protect the consumers if there's no enforcement of them. And if the dealerships realize there's no enforcement of them, then what's their incentive to follow them? So that's where the issue is. I mean, it's great to come up with ways to try and protect the consumers, but if we don't budget any money to for enforcement of it, then it's lovely political conversation that does nothing for anyone.
All right, so let's come back to the where we started tonight's conversation,
Where
Dad.
did we
We have
start?
new vehicle affordability has
Oh, okay.
never been in a worse position. The new data point, the new number to keep in mind, it's not 712. That's what it was last month. The average new car monthly payment has climbed another $18 to $730, Pops. It now takes, it's going to be right down here, the estimated number of weeks of median income needed to purchase the average new vehicle is now 42.2 weeks, up 17% from last year. The average amount of income it takes is 42.2 weeks to buy a new car right now. we could look at even more data. We could pull it up on the screen. It has never been more clear the divide between the haves and the have-nots. Owning a car is becoming a I have money activity. Not owning a car, especially a new car, is becoming a I don't have it activity. Doesn't matter how long you stretch that loan out. $730 on average, stretched out over 70 plus months.
Yes,
Mind-boggling.
it really is. And you know, at a certain point, uh, this is still a country where having a vehicle of some kind is a necessity. Now, maybe it'll become like a lot of those countries where people drive scooters and Vespas and things of that nature. Maybe we'll see more of that moving forward, because obviously, car ownership, truck ownership is falling by the wayside. It's nothing but a pipe dream for a lot of people today. So I don't know. Maybe we need to be investing our money in Vespas and a Vespa dealership, or something that provides some form of affordable transportation. Now, I got to tell you, I
Hmm.
wouldn't want to be riding a Vespa in the middle of a snowstorm or even in the middle of a rainstorm. But if
Pops,
that's the only way to get around,
let's hit on this quickly. One of the ways that automakers want you to have transportation is by leasing,
yes,
but with no option to buy it at the end. They want you to subscribe to the car itself. We're going to see a big push. This is my speculation right here.
yes,
You're going to see a big push from Tesla, Ford, Hyundai, Honda, Kia, Toyota. Everyone's going to push for you to have a lease, a 24 or 36-month lease where you don't have the option to buy the car. You're going to subscribe to the car for 2 or 3 years.
yes,
And then they're going to be able to own the used car market. They're going to essentially be able to set the prices for what those sell for as used cars, which is going to be advantageous for them, their captive lending arms, and for their dealer groups. You're going to not, yeah, the years of owning and buying new cars are going to transition to the mass market thing is to subscribe to your car. And then on the used car side, they're going to be able to, I think, artificially continue to keep used car prices high. That's the future.
I think you're probably right. Um, you know, if Ford for EVs moving forward are well, if you lease it, you can't buy it at the end of the lease. You know, for because it's battery issues, which is nonsense. It's that's all nonsense. That's just BS in order to be able to get their hands back on the vehicles. Um, Tesla doesn't allow the people who lease their vehicles to buy them at the end of the lease. So yes, people are just going to pay a monthly amount for the use of a vehicle. And you know, there was a time when I was looking at Volvo's subscription service when it was reasonably priced, and it sort of kind of made sense because you didn't have to stay in it any more than 5 months. It included all maintenance. It included your auto insurance, and you had one monthly payment. You didn't own the car, but you could stay in it, I think, up to 24 months, and you had to stay in it a minimum of 5 months. I thought, to a degree, that was a way that might make sense, because you're not committing to saying to yourself, "I'm going to own it. I'm just going to use it when I want to use it." And I guess that's basically what Zipcar is and stuff like that. So maybe we'll see more and more ways of utilizing cars like Zipcar, or just short term rentals.
We're going to go down and turn our attention here to Aaron. But before we do, I just want to ask everyone that's with us, can you please, because again, I like independently redesigned our homepage of joinyaa.com. I sent it to my dad on Friday. I was like, how's this look? And he's like, it looks really good. Do it. So then I did it. If you can go to joinyaa.com and give some feedback live here in the chat of if you think it makes sense, if you think it's easy to use, please share that in the chat while we're answering Aaron's question here. It's greatly appreciated. Aaron, thank you for the contribution. What would
Yes,
a
thank you so
2019
much.
F-250 6.7 liter Lariat 4x4, with 22,000 miles in super excellent condition trade-in value in Texas get? I have power running boards, leather premium sound, tow package, and off-road package. I'm trying to trade it in. Now, obviously, Dad, you're not going to be able to pull a number out of your head and say exactly what it is. That being said, go ahead.
I was going to say I could, but it would be way off.
Aaron, this is for you. I'm dropping a link in the chat, and I want everyone who's interested in trade-ins to go to that link. It's your trade-in tactics for success, Dad. You wrote this article way back when, kind of walking through how do I actually figure out what my car's worth, and how do I make sure that I'm actually going to get the most value, going into the details of sales tax benefit basis and all those things as well. So for Aaron, please go do something like that. Go follow that guide. I wish I wish I could give you your $20 back, because it's a free guide. We want you to have access to it. That's the best way to determine what the real value is.
Yes, and there are ways for you to figure out what a real wholesale value could be for that vehicle, and that guide will help you figure that out.
Yeah, and also we have Black Book values back on the website as well, so
yes,
that would be helpful too.
Absolutely.
All right, we've got here from Alex. The homepage isn't too bad, but could you use some kind of images to go with the car buying site? Yeah, I'm trying to think about that too. All right, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. Let's see here. I love all that I've learned over the past few months from you guys, but I didn't get to employ any of it when we picked up my wife's new RAV4 the other day. #disappointed. That's a shame to hear. From Shannon Pops, we've got great show tonight as usual. Fascinating and interesting info. Thank you, Shannon. Really.
Do you know that your brother-in-law would love her avatar? Or
Yes.
Shannon's avatar. They could be a he or a she. Because when we were up in Montreal, your brother-in-law Zach was proudly wearing his Montreal Expos baseball hat in honor of the fact that we were in Montreal.
Yes, he was indeed. All right, Pops, how about this? My birthday is next Friday. I'm coming down the shore. I'm going to be at your condo. I'm not sleeping with you on the couch, but I'll be at your down the shore, almost like your next door neighbor for the weekend. Next Saturday night, let's go live.
Yes.
Let's go side by side. Maybe let's do some calls even. We haven't done calls in a long time. Let's think of something fun to do for next Saturday, because we're going to be celebrating my birthday together. That'll be really fun.
Yeah, we can have a cake, and we can light candles, and we could have the smoke detector go off in my apartment, and we could blow out the candles, and we'll come up with something. Absolutely. Yeah.
And let's help Mar out, or Mary, really quick. I'm confused. Should I buy a car now or wait? New car? New car.
If you can get a new car, it depends on the make and the model.
Stellantis.
Okay. If you're looking at a Stellantis product, then you should be able to do a number of those type of products at MSRP or considerably below MSRP. If you're looking at a Toyota or Honda or a Subaru, if you can get a new car at MSRP, then you're doing well. And I still think a new car at MSRP represents a better overall value for you than a pre-owned car that could be 2 or 3 years old that is selling as much or more than what the MSRP was when it was brand new. So, when the market does stabilize to a certain degree, people that paid way too much for used cars are going to get whacked over the head, and people who just paid MSRP for new cars will be somewhat better off.
Indeed. All right, Pops, thank you for your time tonight, as always. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us. Again, if we can help in any way, email us, help@joinya.com, post on the free community forum, become a member, support others in the community. Dad, I will see you on Monday on the Ray and Zach channel, so I look forward to that. And then I'll see you in person on Friday.
Yes, I'm looking forward. Next week will be a special week because we'll have the whole fam together for Zach's birthday weekend. So absolutely looking forward to it. I want to thank everybody for being here with us tonight. It was the only reason we do this is to help as many people as we can. And as Zach said, we will be back here on Monday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, with more news that you can use from YAA on the Ray and Zach channel. If I blow up, ladies and gentlemen, it's only because I had an internal sneeze and not an external one.